A small town located on the confluence of the Rajang and Kanowit River, Kanowit today is a bustling town congested with traffic, especially in the morning. This is so after the town was linked to the outside world by road. Before that, the town was only accessible by river. Other than the congested traffic, the rest of the town still gives a feeling that you are walking back in time, and rightly so, as it has an interesting history since the coming of James Brooke. The mighty Rajang as seen from Kanowit town. At this location, even though it is about 170 kilometers from the sea, it is still very wide, about 800 meters wide. In its heyday, when there was no road, this was the main mode of transport into the heartland of Sarawak, centered in Kapit. Kanowit was then an important trading center in between Kapit and Cebu. However, all this changed when Kanowit and then Kapit in 2021 were linked to the outside world with roads. The mighty Rajang was no longer the main mode of transport. Kanowit, however, managed to remain an important town, now congested with cars and lorries instead of boats. The name Kanowit was taken after the earliest tribe settling there, who today are found mostly settled in Kampong Bedil. James Brooke came into contact with the Kanowits in 1846 when he sailed up the Rajang to combat piracy that was rampant then. By 1853, he had taken control of the Rajang Basin from the Brunei Sultanate. The town itself was dominated by the Chinese when in 1870s, Hokkien traders started settling there. This was followed by the Cantonese in the 1880s and the Fuchaos in the early 1900s. Today, these three dialect groups remained as the dominant groups in town. However, the major ethnic group in the district are the Ibans, making up more than 70% of the population in the district. Interestingly, the local council was called Kanowit Si Dayak Local Authority when it was first established in 1949. It was renamed Kanowit District Council in 1957. Kanowit has its ups and downs in the last 100 plus years since the coming of James Brooke. Not long after James Brooke acquired control of the Rajang Basin, two of his officers, Charles Fox and Henry Steele, were killed there. In order to hunt for the killers, the Great Kayak expeditions were launched, resulting in a lot of destruction and deaths. The district also saw one of the last rebellion against Brooke's rule when Asun, also known with the praise name Bah Tunggal, fought against the Brooke government in the 1930s. And then, at the end of the Japanese occupation, the town was looted and burned down. The town had hardly recovered from this incident when again disaster struck. A great fire broke out and destroyed the town again in 1951. So the shops that we see today were mostly built after 1951. Although the building of roads affected the importance of Rajang River's inter-town transportation, locally, river transportation is still very important. Many longhouses along the river still depends on river transportation. So, although not as busy as before, the river is still bustling with activities, especially in the morning. Crowds can be seen waiting to embark and disembark at the wharf. The morning crowd at the wharf. This boat is taking its passengers to the opposite bank. Reaching its destination. More people going home after their marketing. Many have their own boats like we have cars. Boats berthed at the jetty, waiting for their owners to finish their marketing. A steady stream of boats and passengers can be seen coming and going. The practice of providing cheap accommodation to the natives from the interior still exists with the rumah temuai. It costs only 5 ringgit per night for a room and 2 ringgit for a sleeping space on wooden platform per night. And there is a steady demand for this place. The platform for sleeping is downstairs while 5 rooms are available upstairs. Guests getting ready to continue their journey after a night stay in there. Fort Emma, the place where Charles Fox and Henry Steele were killed. It was named after James Brooke's sister, the mother of Charles Brooke. According to an officer from the museum department, the fort was first built in 1849 but was destroyed in the same year, rebuilt in 1851, only to be destroyed in a fire in 1859, and finally another fort was built in 1860 that remains till this day. Strangely, there is a statue of a mermaid beside the fort. Local legends said a mermaid appeared at the river during the building of the fort, and that attracted a large crowd to see it. So, a statue was built beside the fort to commemorate it. It's a legend, so shall it remain a legend. Opposite the fort, there is a heroes monument. It honors the heroes who died in a tragic incident in the area. On 27th August 1970, 12 border scouts were killed in an ambush in Pendam Bungkang, Sungai Ngemah by the communist insurgents. This memorial was built to honor them. During the communist insurgency in Sarawak, Kanowit was a black area, with many clashes between the government's forces and the communists. The Rajang Area Security Command was formed to defeat the communists. It took quite a few years for the government to achieve that, with both sides suffering heavy casualties like the Pendam Bungkang incident. It was from such situation that heroes are born. Among them was the brave Lawrence Lim, popularly known as the Tiger of Kanowit. A local from this area, he was credited as the person who succeeded in getting the Ibang communist leader Ubong Anak Nuing to surrender. On the other hand, Corporal Kong Siu Long, a special branch personnel, was killed by the communists in a Chinese New Year reunion dinner in 1971. ASP Wilfred Gomez killed 4 communists on 20th June 1973 and was awarded a PGB. In another incident in 1971, Fabian Wong of 1st Ranger, on secondment to the special branch, managed to alert his team from going into the killing zone of an ambush, and in the process almost got himself killed. There are also many youth from Kanowit serving the country. The famous hero Kanang Anak Langkau was born in Julau in 1945 when it was still a sub-district of Kanowit. Julau was only upgraded to a district under Serike Division in 1973. Last but not least, on 2nd July 2000, Matthew Medan, who was also from Kanowit, was killed in the Al Ma'unah incident in Perak. So, this is the story of a small town with a big history. Thank you for watching this video.